Welcome to the Lads AM podcast, a show for those late night ramblings you only get when the rest of the world is asleep. This show is available in both podcast and Let's Play form. Check out our social media to find out how to listen the way you want to. Tonight, we are playing gonna take over.
Dude, speaking of years ago, the last time we filmed a podcast was a while ago.
Ian. No, that
Well, it's weird because we're filming on a Tuesday.
which we said we'd never do it.
Right, but like, shit happens. But like,
Shit
it's
happens.
been 10 days.
It has been 10 days.
Like our last
Also,
recording
yeah, it also
was
feels
camp.
a lot because it also is the last. We haven't been doing it this way.
Right.
The last
so,
time
like,
we were outside.
Right, so it really feels like it's been a while.
Insane, dude.
In the membrane. Insane in the brain.
Insane at the break.
So, how you guys doing?
Oh, I'm doing great. Luckily, nothing entertaining happened after the camping episode, so we can get right back. We can get rid of all that outdoor stuff that no one wants to hear about.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Dude, I got
nothing.
a story to tell.
Yeah.
Alright, so you ready for this bullshit?
Yeah.
Alright. So, I think I had mentioned it on the last episode, but I might not have. The school I work at,
Is he?
we were planning a field trip. And it was
He
going
is,
to
yeah.
be last Wednesday.
Okay.
So, when a field trip happens, you give all the students permission slips.
I have done that before.
The students have to pay money. And
Yes.
then you go on the field trip.
Typically a normal. Yeah, I understand.
Now, occasionally things come up that are, outside of control. Things have to change last minute. So, imagine canceling a field trip like 10 minutes before your leave.
Oh no.
That's not good. That would not go well with the community.
So, here's the deal. It wasn't exactly 10 minutes before, but it was the last 20 minutes of the day prior. So,
That's essentially 10
Right.
minutes before.
So, here's the situation. You ready for this?
Yeah, give it to me.
Alright. Because there's the story that the students have heard. And then there's the true story. Okay?
I want to know.
That's typically how school works.
Oh,
I want to know from the student's perspective.
okay.
That's
From the student's perspective, all they're told is that on this field trip, we have to have a nurse with us. And we were unable to get a nurse to come with us. And that's what the students were told. Alright?
Okay.
okay.
And technically, every single thing of that is correct.
Oh no, I don't like this. You lied to them.
No, we didn't lie to them. We didn't lie to them in the slightest.
Oh, you stretched the truth.
Didn't even stretch the truth.
Hmm.
What we did not tell them is why we were unable to secure it.
Does your
Nurse
school not have
secured.
like a regular nurse? Like a regular
So
nurse?
let me explain, okay?
Yeah, sure.
So our school has a regular nurse who is awesome. She is great. And she recently got married, which is awesome. Good for her.
Congratulations.
Good for the nurse.
Yep. So last week, no, not last week, the week before last, 2 weeks ago, she had a week off to enjoy her honeymoon.
Yeah, as you do.
Absolutely nothing wrong. Now, when a school nurse is out, just like a teacher, there needs to be a substitute. However, while substitute teachers usually work in like one, maybe two districts, substitute nurses usually operate over a lot more districts because, well, you're going to have a lot less nurses call out. Just because each school probably only has one, maybe two. So we had a substitute nurse for the week. When we collected the permission slip forms, the nurse is supposed to go through the forms and essentially say, yes, you need a nurse to go with the field trip. You need this to happen, and this to happen. And then we make it happen, okay? The substitute nurse that we had looked at the field trip stuff and said, the field trip's next Wednesday. We'll just wait for your regular nurse to come in and deal with it. Keeping in mind that Monday we did not have school.
Okay. So they said we'll let the night guy do it. They just did not. Were they told to handle this?
Normal regular nurse deal.
Were they told to handle this though? That's what I'm wondering.
They were given the paperwork with the assumption that they would do it, and then they said, "Nah, we'll just do that."
Okay. I know who the bad guy is.
We get to our, again, no school that Monday. Regular nurse is back on Tuesday. Field trip is the next day. Nurse takes one look at our forms and is like, yeah, you need a nurse. And I have to stay at the building because there has to be a nurse at the building. So you need to try to get a substitute nurse immediately. And because it was such short notice, we could not have that happen. So basically, the field trip got ruined because someone decided they didn't want to do their fucking job, substitute nurse.
Oh, okay, yeah. They it does seem like it was pretty clear, like they were supposed to have done that.
Yeah.
It's not like, they just made the decision to not do that.
Yep.
That's
pretty
insane.
much.
That's terrible.
Now, it'd be crazy if the story ended there, but it doesn't.
Well, we need them hung up. We need them hung on. We need their head on a spike.
Oh, no. The nurse saga's done. Now we're on to a different saga, Matt. Or a different chapter, as you will.
Dawn of the second day, okay.
Alright, so I knew that the field trip was in jeopardy about 2 hours before the students. And there were a number of teachers, not including myself, because I was busy with other things, but there were a number of teachers who were doing everything they could think of to try to save the field trip. And unfortunately, it just wasn't going to happen. So, next best thing, instead of fully canceling the field trip, is to simply reschedule it. They said, okay, let's try to reschedule the field trip. We'll find a different day, and that way we don't have to worry about collecting permission slips again. The other ones are still fine. We don't even have to worry about collecting money or giving it back, because it'll all still be good. So they decided that we will aim to try to get the field trip rescheduled for June 5th, which,
June 5th.
For our context, is tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
So the teachers say, okay, we're going to try to reschedule the field trip for June 5th. First thing we should do is let the principal know. So they go ahead, they tell the principal, hey, we are trying to get the field trip rescheduled for June 5th. And the principal says, okay, sounds like a good plan. Now, you might have heard the key word there. Trying to get the field trip. Nothing was confirmed. Which makes it baffling that the principal then texted every 7th grade parent telling them that the field trip is rescheduled.
Oh, they just go ahead and confirmed it to everyone without figuring out whether or not it was actually happening.
We did not confirm buses. We did not confirm the zoo. We did not confirm anything.
Or a nurse.
Or a nurse.
Throw that out there.
And the principal just reassured parents blindly.
Nice. You love that. You love when people don't
We're
talk to each other.
like, oh shit. This better work out, or else this is gonna be a fucking riot. And thankfully it did. We are going to the zoo tomorrow.
Hell yeah.
Yay.
Okay, well, I'm happy that there's a happy ending.
There is a happy ending, although
Oh, no.
there
There's
is a bittersweet ending. Because you ready for this news? Because there's
Go
a
for it.
third chapter.
Okay.
And this third chapter was only made aware, I was only made aware of it today. So I took the day off yesterday. I enjoyed my day off very nicely. And it seems like every time that I have the day off, that's when shit goes down. Which on the one hand I'm happy about because I don't want to deal with that shit. But on the other hand, I'm like, I miss all the fun. So,
You.
apparently, 2 of my students decided yesterday that, for whatever reason, couldn't behoove me to know why, they wanted to beat the shit out of a 6th grader.
Oh, no. Wait, actually?
Pretty much, yeah. So, they made plans to do so.
They put what they put in their schedule. We're going to beat the shit out of this kid.
From what I
Probably.
hear, they talked about it during lunch and we're going to do it after.
All right, and if you guys check your Google Calendar, you should see an invite. We're going to beat the shit out of
So-
Tommy.
They were not quiet about this. Quite a few people heard about him. So, several 7th graders who did not plan on beating the shit out of a 6th grader still went to the 6th grade hallway hoping they were going to see a fight.
Of course they are.
Now, the next thing I know, no fight I think actually happens. The 2 students who talked about beating the shit out of him got suspended, understandably so.
Yep.
And every single 7th grade student in that hallway was told they could not go on the field trip.
Because they were just there?
Because
What
they
time?
were there
What time of day is this?
right after lunch. I can
Come
tell you for a fact, looking at the list of students that are now not allowed to go on this field trip, there are definitely multiple students who were not in that hallway to watch a fight. No shot that they were in that hallway to watch a fight.
It is
They
kinda
were
weird
just
that they
there in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Anyone
Yeah,
in the
it's kinda weird to not, like, double check in
Anyone
some way.
in that whole hallway.
Jake, do you know how many fights in high school I saw just by accident?
15 students. 15 students added to the list of students that could not go.
Jesus.
Now, some of those students, I will absolutely say, I fully believe that they did go out of their way to witness. Some are no shot in hell. I bet hundreds of dollars, and then they were just in the wrong place at the wrong time. But do they ask teachers our thoughts on it? No, admin just tells everyone they can't go.
Is there even
yeah.
Is there even like a actual reason to you heard of is that really so bad?
The problem is that by people going to watch it and essentially cheer it on, it
They're encouraging it.
incentivizes others to do it.
Oh my god.
This sets up a stage where it's like, you should not be encouraging this. Which,
Imagine.
I understand that. If they talked to us and said, hey, which students here do you think were here to watch a fight, and which ones do you think were completely innocent? Then I probably would be fine with everyone who wanted to go see a fight to not go on the field trip.
And
I'd be fine with that.
everyone who slows down to look at a car crash is also responsible for the car crash.
I mean,
That's
You
not the
just-
same
it-
thing, though.
You look at shit.
It's a
don't-
predetermined. No, it's not. It's a predetermined thing, though.
yeah, Matt, there's a difference
think-
between it happening next to you and you being like
Hearing what's about to go down.
right.
You go. I think that's stupid.
That being said, I do agree with you to a certain extent, like I said, Matt. Now, I wish that they had just, like I said, I wish that they had just talked to him, because they made a judgment call, and I'm not going to question Adam on it now, but like. Oh, and this is the other thing that kind of tilts me, is that one of the issues that we were having with this field trip was the busing. Okay? So, a bus can generally fit around 50 people, okay? We had 3 buses, and in total, we had around 154 people going.
Hmm.
Meaning it was going to be cutting it really close. Well, suddenly we have 15 less students going, which makes it a lot easier to handle the busing situation. So,
I call foul play.
15 students no longer being able to go, quite a lot of the teachers were actually not upset about that.
I call foul play.
What, you think
I'm going to
teachers
be
tried to
honest,
fight?
Matt. I kind of
think-
do too.
I think they knew the buses were going to be an issue, and they were like, "How do we make the buses not an issue so we don't have to get a 4th bus?"
I'm not convinced of that because admin had nothing to do with this field trip. No, like admin had nothing to do with this
And the
field
corporate
trip.
elite have nothing to do with Congress.
Man, I fucking am part of the school staff.
I'm saying,
Me and the other
and
teachers are the ones who planned it.
not all billionaires. Well, not all all billionaires. Not all those who. I'm saying I'm calling foul play. That seems too
you call
convenient to me.
foul play.
It seems too
and-
convenient to me. Why else would they make a
it's
call
lost.
that they don't ask anyone else for? They saw an opportunity,
Because they're
and
admin. They always do stuff like that.
That's
Yeah,
what I'm
because admin always does that. They always
Right.
go above teachers' head.
I'm just
Why
I
do
don't-
presidents bomb countries without talking to Congress?
exactly.
Bro.
I mean, exactly. That costs.
I'm just saying. So we agree.
Oh, we.
Yeah, it was foul
I
play.
agree to a certain extent. I agree that what admin did is fucked up. Do I agree
Sure.
that they specifically did this to help the busing situation? No, probably.
Mm.
The
That's my-
principal paid off those 2 kids to lie about starting a fight with a 6th
No,
grader.
I don't think that was. I
Hey,
don't
we'll,
think
we'll give you a week off of school.
No,
don't-
Dustin. That's not what
I don't
Matt's
think-
suggesting.
I don't think
Matt
it goes
is
that.
know.
Matt is
That's what I-
suggesting that admin took advantage of a
I
situation.
said yes. That's what I'm saying.
Which,
I'm
again,
I'm saying
is
that
still
they
not
saw.
fully convinced.
All I'm saying is that the more I learn about adults, is that they are just as conniving and lazy as kids
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
If they
I
can get, if
can
they
agree
they
with you
will
on
try to
that.
get out of work the same way that kids try to get out of school. It never changes, and now they just have power to do stuff.
I can tell you confidently, after doing my research on the internet, because
My own
wanted to make sure that I had some justification in case this became an issue. I took at least 1 sick day this year and justified it as a mental health.
You need it, man.
I was like, I'm not. I also took 1 sick day where I was just like, I am so tired that if I drive, there is a genuine risk of me crashing my car, which is not safe.
No, that's fair.
So, yeah, that's the field trip saga that I've gone on. I'll be sure to let you in on the next podcast about how the actual field trip goes.
It's tomorrow,
It's tomorrow. I get to,
and you have a bunch. And you have a bunch of extra seats.
I mean,
Can I go,
no.
please?
Matt, I can tell you this. There is
Well, if I get my
nothing.
parents to sign a permission slip.
I cannot stop you, Matt, from going to the zoo. All right? So if you want to go to the Franklin Park Zoo tomorrow, I cannot stop you.
I can go. I can't go. I can
I
go
was
though.
going to say, how are you getting a ride?
I don't know. Start leaving now. Walk there.
We got a podcast to film. Can't
True.
leave for another at least hour.
Speaking of podcast.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Speaking of.
Yeah?
Earlier, maybe about let's see, about 20 minutes ago, I made a joke saying that nothing interesting happened after the camping episode of the podcast, and we don't need to talk about outside stuff anymore.
Nothing interesting happened.
And then I'm like, oh, this is going to be a good segue. Someone will pick up on it.
Perfect setup. Perfect to spike down on that.
Dude, it was a perfect segue. Thank you.
Dude,
I saw your segue and I stole it. I was proud of myself.
He was getting ready for the spike, and instead of spiking, he just threw the ball away.
No, I spiked the ball onto a different court.
You started playing a different sport.
Dude, I decided I wanted to play basketball.
I set up the cross, and then you kicked the field goal.
Nice.
That's what happened.
Hey Matt, what actually happened?
We got stuck on a fucking mountain.
Didn't get stuck. You make it sound like we had to get rescued.
I felt stuck.
Nah.
Yeah, Rob. Okay, I'm gonna let Rob defend himself because he's gotten pretty good at it so far.
All right.
Rob, here's a claim. I'll give the claim and then you defend, okay?
Okay, sure.
We wanted to go hiking and Rob brought us on the hardest trail in New England.
You want me to defend this?
I want you to respond to it how you've been responding to it for the past week or two.
Okay. All right. There's a couple of things to keep in mind with this defense.
Also, it was raining.
It was also raining.
Okay. There's a couple of things.
Which is all our faults.
Yeah. I don't control the weather, so. All right. There's a couple of things that I will say first and foremost. Okay. Thing number one, because I know this is going to get brought up at some point, so I might as well just say it now. All right.
Yeah. Get ahead of the allegations, please.
I want to go back into our Discord conversation because I am 99% sure that I am not the first person to suggest climbing a mountain.
No, Matt was.
Thank you.
When did I say climb a mountain?
You said you want to go hiking.
You said you wanted to go hiking, and I think
we were discussing doing another camping trip, and you said, "Dude, I want to go hiking."
I said hike. Is hiking and climbing a mountain not different things?
They are different things.
Because I was thinking everything up until we started actually having to climb rocks. That's exactly what I was talking about. In the woods and stuff.
Now
I was not.
Either way, regardless.
Yeah,
that's kind of neither here nor there. That's just a side thing.
And honestly, I say even halfway up. If it was just that would also would have been cool. I was cool with that.
Here's where things start going downhill, okay? And I will try to defend some of this, and some of this I honestly don't have a defense.
Well, we were going uphill.
Anyways, I chose the mountain. I chose a mountain I had climbed multiple times before. I had quite a bit of experience on this mountain. That being said, the last time I had climbed it was probably about 8 years ago. So, we get to the mountain, and I had us park at this lodge, which I had stayed at before. It's a really nice lodge. I knew that we could... Lodge. What was that?
It seemed like a really nice lodge.
Oh,
it wasn't. It was.
It is wonderful to stay.
I would have liked to seen it active, because we were there by the time we had gone in there, or I guess a few of you went in beforehand, just cause.
Yeah.
I would have but when I was in there, it was dead because it was
even after it seemed pretty dead. I think it was because it was a Monday.
That too.
Because I've seen the place be lively, especially around dinner time. But maybe next camping trip, instead of camping, we stay there. But anyways, I check out the trailhead because I'm the one who's like got the mountain experience, especially with this mountain, so I'm taking charge on where we go. So to that extent, I will own all mistakes. I was looking over the map pad, and all of a sudden I realized that I was having a sort of a hard time remembering which trail I had taken before. I knew it was one of two options. Either we took, I think it was called the Holt Trail, the entire way through, or the other thing that I was thinking is that you take the Holt Trail the first half and then switch over to what's called the Clark Trail. And I could not remember which one it was that I did. But the more that I looked at the trail map and thought about it, the more I was convinced that we had done the Holt Trail the entire way. It's worth noting, every time I've climbed this mountain, I've always taken the same path. However, I was also always with a group and never the leader. So
yeah, you were a child just following whatever the adults said.
Well, the most recent time I had climbed it, I was 19, but I was also climbing it as part of the summer camp with other adults, with my boss leading. So
With real adults.
Even in that case, I mean, you say real adults, I was probably the third oldest person.
Yeah, but it was 19 a real adult.
Yeah, fair enough. Either way, I was convinced Holt Trail was it. What I did not realize at the time, I had shown, I think it was Georgia and Fanning. And what was pointed out to me after the fact was that on that same map somewhere, it says, this Holt Trail is one of the hardest trails in all of New England. Had I seen that, it might have convinced me that the Clark Trail was more what I was used to. But I digress. So I tell them all what the plan is. We're going to go down the Holt Trail. Now, I also knew that the sign said, hey, probably not a good idea to do this trail while in wet condition. But
Yeah,
again, in my mind, I had blindly convinced myself at that point that the Holt Trail was what I had done. And I also knew for a fact that when I had climbed the mountain before, I had done so in wet conditions and was able to do it, I won't say no problem, but like, with not that many. So while we saw the warning and everyone kind of was like, Rob, are you sure? I was like, don't worry, guys. I did this when I was 12.
I would point
I'll
out
say that a couple times.
This is not the only sign that the gods gave us to not do this.
I think it's the first sign, though.
It's the first. It's definitely not the last one. Is what I'm getting at.
I'll go into all the signs.
There are many signs that we ignore that told us that we were doing something wrong,
and we should have stopped.
We should have stopped. Yes.
So, and you know what's funny is the very next sign is actually one that I've not told you yet.
Oh no, he's keeping stuff from us.
So, well, I held on to those for the podcast. So,
God, podcast.
We reach the junction where we either continue on the Holt Trail or go on the Clark Trail.
Right, yeah.
And we start down the Holt Trail. Now remember, I had thought I had gone down the Holt Trail, but in reality I had gone down the Clark Trail.
Yes.
Within probably about 10 minutes of going on the Holt Trail, I'm like, this doesn't seem familiar.
Wait a minute. We could have turned back 10 minutes after that. You could have just said, "Oh, might be. It's not this one."
Matt, the thing is, I was not convinced that I was remembering it correctly because the thing is A, it had been 8 years, so I was like, things can change. And the other thing is that my memory, as you very well know, is not always the greatest.
That's the worst part about you having a bad memory is that every time you're right, you now have to doubt yourself because there's a good chance you're wrong.
By the time I was convinced,
we don't even need to gaslight him anymore. He does it himself.
Pretty much, yeah. By the time I was convinced that we were on the wrong trail, we had probably been hiking for like close to an hour.
Oh my god.
So at that point, I was like, well, fuck it. We might as well just continue on this way. So we continue on, and unless you want to correct me, I think the next sign that we get that we should probably turn around is a nice alert Dustin gets on his phone.
I think it was Fanning, or was it both of you?
Oh, is it Fanning who got it? Okay.
Yeah.
Fanning gets a nice alert on his phone, and it says, hey, there's thunderstorms in your area.
Thunderstorm warning.
Somehow not the most egregious sign that we ignore, by the way.
So we talk about it for a few minutes. And eventually we reach the conclusion where it's like, well, we're going to keep going up for now. But if we actually hear thunder, then we will turn around.
Or I think maybe the idea was we would get to the top before that. We'd already be on our way down.
I will say, at no point did we actually hear thunder.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't really worried about the thunder warning anyways, because I feel like those aren't typically 100% like foolproof, you know?
The thing is when you're talking about top of a mountain, though, if there's a thunderstorm heading your way, you do want to be careful.
I mean, yeah.
If I heard thunder, I probably would have been like, okay, we need to turn.
Yeah.
Anyways, we continue along. Things are getting steep, but I will say that as someone who does a mountain hiking experience, it's not an unreasonable level of steepness at first.
Yeah, after that point is when we got to the point where we actually had to like get on our hands and feet and climb rather than like follow, because before that was just a trail, right? Like
Dustin. Even if we had gone down the Clark Trail, though, we would have had sections.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying that this is the point where it started.
Right. I'm just saying, like, that's not a sign that we were doing something wrong. Yeah, like, that's just an expectation that you guys did not have that I knew about. Which was poor communication, I guess, but...
I said it a couple of times during the hike that when I was thinking of hiking a mountain, I think back to the one time I went hiking. And it was probably like 80% trail and 20% doing some sort of climbing.
Yeah. You need to do something.
It was the exact opposite.
Yeah, I think when I said hiking, that's kind of what I meant. Because it got to a point where, like, because I brought my camera and I wanted to do stuff, and I'm like, I need both hands to climb up here.
Yeah,
my camera's fucking useless right here. My camera's useless here. I'm like, okay, I guess maybe it'll be cool at the top.
So that being said, had we taken the right trail, it probably would have been closer to an 80-20 split. So we continue along. And this is one of my favorite parts, so the entire ascent, I think it's fair to say that I'm probably the person actually going to sleep. I'm someone who takes my time. At no point was I, like, down and out or anything.
No.
But I am very out of shape. And I can own that.
And
so I was like, yeah, I'm going to need this. And, you know, you guys are all pretty accommodating, and I thank you. But one of the things about being in the back is things happen that you're not aware of. And all of a sudden, I'm like, oh, there's 4 people in our hiking party. I get to the top, and I'm like, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wait, what's going on? I was so baffled.
Behold the most egregious sign that we ignore. We're 3 kids. I'm gonna call them kids. There must have been like
You can call them
teenagers.
kids. They were somewhere between the
They're kids
ages of
compared to us.
16 to
Yeah.
18.
somewhere,
Yeah.
maybe. So because Robbie, you showed up late. I get around the corner a little bit before you, and I see Georgia and Fanning and Dustin, I think, are just talking to these random kids, and they're like, "Why are you going up this way?" And I'm like, "Oh God." And they're like, "Yeah, we got like pretty high up there, but we just couldn't do it." And in my head, I'm
Yeah.
like, wait, these kids are invincible. How am I supposed to do it if they didn't stop? But I didn't say anything. I'm like, whatever. But they're like, yeah, we had to stop and turn back. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh wow, that's crazy.
His fan was like, "Oh yeah, you don't want to go down this path. It's really hard." He's like, "Yeah, we have no other way to go down. We didn't finish this path."
Yeah. Like, oh, that's crazy.
Mention that while everything you said is absolutely accurate, the kids also looked at us and said, "You guys probably have a better chance."
That is, I can guarantee you,
In
they did
hindsight,
not mean
I
that.
think it's bullshit. Yeah.
Yeah, no, they did not mean that.
I think they were just talking.
That
just
was
yapping.
like that
They
was
were
like
trying to be encouraging.
you want to give you want to give people advice. That's being like someone asks for you advice and you say, "Oh, you should do this," but that's just me though.
That's just me, though, right?
That's giving people. That's how you give people advice while also taking no response, trying to distance yourself any responsibility if that advice is taken. They didn't. They were just absolving themselves of when they heard a report of 5 people found on a mountain. So if they'll be like, damn, well, yeah, we said it was difficult. It's not on our conscience. That's exactly what happened. They weren't being encouraging. I know that. I could see through it.
Yeah.
Regardless,
Robert, you mentioned you were kind of like the slow one, kind of in the back. The exact opposite, Fanning, who would just constantly like 2 sections ahead of us. That dude was just going through this hike like it was nothing.
Dude,
I couldn't believe it.
Uh,
And we'd be at a certain point like, struggling, trying to get up.
we
And we would hear Fanning going, "Oh yeah, so at this point you want to go this way." I'm like, "Shut up, Fanning."
dude,
there was a solid chance that he didn't make it back from this trip. It had nothing to do with the mountain.
No.
It was gonna be me. I was gonna do something
I
about it.
kept going, "I'm gonna strangle Fanning."
I'm gonna strangle this kid. Oh my God, there is nothing more annoying than hearing someone talk who has already completed the challenge immediately in front of you.
Yeah.
And I
only that, but constantly saying, "Oh, it gets worse."
Yeah.
Guys,
It's
looking real bad up here.
Oh, thanks, because it looks great down here.
That being said, I will say I will never make fun of Fanning's physicality again. Because, here's the thing. You look at Fanning. For those of you who have not gotten a good look at Fanning on a video,
one of the two,
I would say, and correct me if I'm wrong, that if you were to rank us in terms of, strength, Fanning's probably the one getting ranked.
Last? Wait, no, we did this, though, kind of.
Yeah?
We did kind of do this, though.
The bow and arrow?
The bow and arrow. The crossbow.
Did he do it?
He did.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what's happened in the last year since then.
I guess.
But I know the ranking. I know
I hear
it.
Robert saying, though, he's a scrawny guy.
Yeah, he is a scrawny guy.
To be fair, scrawny guys do make for good fucking mountain hikers.
Well, yeah, they're carrying less up. They're carrying less to go up there.
Quite literally, yeah.
Yeah, and honestly, the way up, it was only slightly annoying. It was only slightly annoying. I would get up to the group, and as soon as I got there, and then Rob would get there, he would start going again, and I'm like, can we just stop for a second? You've been stopped for so long, and I'm like, bro, I just got here.
So George, I mentioned this, I know, a couple of times, but that's why you're supposed to have your slowest person.
Yeah, it paces everyone
and
else.
B, one of the most important things you're supposed to do is you always, whenever you're going to take a break, that break doesn't start until the last person gets there. That's why multiple times I was like, no. We're stopping. We're waiting. Because, like, yeah, part of me did want to just be like, yeah, I just want to keep going because if I stop, it's going to be hard for me to
get going again.
But at the same time, there were times where I was like, dude, I'm dying. I need us to fucking actually, like, wait a minute. And Fanny was just like, no, let's keep going. I'm like, bruh.
You needed to learn a little bit of hiking etiquette. That's it. Nothing bad about Fanning.
No,
You just needed to learn a little
yeah,
etiquette.
We're memeing when we say we're mad at him.
Yeah.
Well, on the way up, I'm memeing about it.
On the way up, we're memeing.
On the way up, I'm memeing about it.
To continue, though, we continue until we get to the point that I am convinced the kids are talking about. Because the kids, when we talk to them, they're like, yeah, we were able to get like about 500 feet from the summit, and then it got way too steep, and we had to stop. And I'm convinced that we've reached the same point. Because all of a sudden, Fanning goes up this really steep section. Everyone else was taking a break, but I had a little burst of energy for whatever reason. So I was like, I'll try go doing it. I get about halfway up with great difficulty, look at the second half, and I'm just like, yeah, I know my limit. That's not happening.
Oh, yeah, that was, the very end, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, very end.
Yeah, that was the point where, like, I can't even fathom how we even get up there.
Right, like, I'm looking at it, I'm like, I don't know how I'm getting up here. And Fanning's also, once again being like, oh,
it's like a mountain goat.
It's even worse up here. So I'm like, cool. So it sucks what I'm doing now, and it's supposed to get worse.
That's the whole climb up.
We talk it over. We decide, yes, it is time to turn around.
Also, again, never stopped raining in the rock, so the rocks are like super slippery, kind of like what the sign said originally.
Yeah. All right, I need to point this out. Okay,
difficult.
I need to point this out. Okay.
Yeah, gonna point it out.
You guys can try to disagree with me on this or whatever. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I genuinely did not know it was gonna rain more than a light drizzle that we started. Like, I had not checked the weather. I had not done any of it. I saw it was a light drizzle. I said, okay, light drizzle. That's probably about as bad as it's going to be. And I just blindly assumed. Now, I know
I didn't really think much about the rain that day. So
quite a few of you were aware that it was going to rain. And I think the next time we do an activity like that, we have a discussion about if we're still doing it or not based on weather before driving 2 hours out of our way to get to St. Louis.
As far as I know, the only thing we knew about rain already that I did was that originally when we were going up there like before the trip, it looked like it was going to be raining while we were there. And then by the time like the day of, it had moved to only really Monday, which is ended up what happened. Like, it really only rained at night. It didn't rain when we were really there except for Monday.
Mm-hmm.
That Monday morning, like around like 7, I think it was.
It wasn't even raining at 7. It was not raining when we left our campsite.
Yeah, it was. I remember being awake in my tent and being like, okay, I'm going to go. All right, time to go. I'll just break my tent down a little bit early. And then I remember it started raining. So I'm like, I'm going to sit in here instead and wait for this.
Maybe it stopped by the time I woke up. That second night I actually slept. That first night I did not get good sleep.
So, and that was checking the weather for Maine. I don't know if it would be, if I didn't know specifically New Hampshire, like the area we were in, what it was supposed to be or anything.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I know.
Either way, we're near the top. We're like 98%, 99% of the way up there. And it is downpouring. It is 6 in the evening. Worth mentioning at this point, since we haven't said it yet, we have not eaten lunch.
I made the
Yeah.
sandwiches in the goddamn rain too. I got home and I had to throw those away.
Dude, I
Yeah,
ate
show
my
the picture.
sandwich. It was delicious.
Yeah.
But I don't know about y'all, but at 6 in the evening that day, the only thing I had to eat all day was tuna. And like a little bit of like trail.
I don't remember. Yeah. I don't remember exactly feeling hungry. I may have just been distracted though. Because I think that happens sometimes. Sometimes I just, if something's going on, I'm like, this is the. I wasn't really thinking about the.
Yeah,
feeling
that's
at all.
exactly what was happening with me. Especially when me doing mountain hiking, I'm used to eating, less. So it didn't surprise me that. Either way, we start our way down. And the trail that we were on, it was warned to us multiple times. Hey, you really don't want to go down this trail. And remember, this trail's you really shouldn't be on it, period, when it's wet and slippery.
Mm-hmm.
So we're in for a fun downhill trek. My experience mountain hiking, going down the mountain takes about half the time as going up it. This time around, going down the mountain took just about, if not longer.
Probably, yeah.
And it is purely because, not because we stopped. We, never stopped once.
Nope, not at all.
Purely because we had to take things so carefully to make sure that none of us got hurt.
We really had to look ahead and think about, should we walk down this part? Should we slide down this part? How should we?
Well, I can think of a couple people that didn't make it.
Yeah?
Me and Dustin's pants.
True. So
it did not last. We went too much of that. We had to do sitting, sliding down. I legit slid down a couple of times, being like, I'm gonna stop myself on this rock right here, and I really hope I do. Some of it intentional, some of it not. Or just kind of I don't see any other way out of here. So I'm gonna just slide down here and hopefully. And I mean, I made by the whole time, but at the end, I think it was even beforehand. You guys told me because we were checking people's pants, and I'm like,
we had told you, but we didn't tell you to what extent.
To what extent? Also, I had it kind of okay because my pants were two different materials, 2 different layers, and only the outer of mine got fucked up. Dustin's was just all the way through.
Yeah.
So on the way down, these two end up with ripped pants. My pants rip a tiny amount, but theirs ripped to the point where they threw them out. I'm pretty sure, if not you.
Yeah, I had to throw. Throw my pants away.
Mine ripped a tiny amount, but not enough that I threw. Also, on the going up the mountain, like I said, I'm the one in the back mostly. The way down, it's you two. Which I can only presume is because you're just being overly cautious, which is understandable.
And we had a great time.
I wanted the most optimized route going down. Because I knew Matt watched Robert watched George watched Fanning, and I
can tell you right away.
I was all the information.
I can tell you right now, I was not watching George. I was forging my.
Well, that was my theory, at least.
You had the most data going into it.
Exactly.
But
Fanning, that's why I was like, I'll stay in the back here.
Fanning's still in the front, and Fanning.
This is when I get mad at Fanning.
This is when Matt starts getting mad at Fanning. Is in the first 10 minutes of us going down, we're at a point where me, Georgia, and Fanning are kind of having to slow down and wait for Matt and Dustin. And Fanning's hurry up! And I had to turn to Fanning and have a quietish conversation. I didn't want you two to hear it. At the time, at least. But I was basically just like, dude, they are having to go down slippery rocks. The last thing I want them to do is feel like they're rushed and accidentally get hurt because of that. I understand you're wet. I understand you want to get off this mountain. I understand you're miserable. We're all in the same boat right now. However, our number one priority has to be everyone getting down safely. Because if one of these fuckers breaks an arm or even worse, a leg this high up, we're literally gonna have to get a helicopter. Like, we don't have other options.
Like, I'll give, as Fanning's biggest hater, I will also be his greatest defender. I'll play both roles.
Okay.
He was getting very anxious. Like,
He was upfront with that with me. He was like, it's my anxiety, it's getting to me. I was like, okay, I understand your anxiety. Everything's gonna be okay. We're gonna get down. I feel confident about that. We know the way down. And I literally had to tell him multiple times and be like, listen, every time we went up here, it kept getting harder and harder, right? He was like, yes. I was like, so that means when we go down, it's just gonna get easier and easier. And eventually it did get to the point where we were just nonstop walking for like an hour.
Yeah. And like...
So like, yeah, were we frustrated with Fanning in the moment? Yes. Do we have ill feelings towards him now over it? No, I don't.
But it's like, and I understand, because I'm like, I'm like, the whole time is why I wasn't actually, because he's like, I'm like, okay, that's just how he is when he's anxious. But the flip side of that is that the moment I think the moment I actually was getting mad at him was, I think it was you or something. You had said something to the effect of, if you're going to fall backwards. That way you're not falling forwards.
Right. I'm trying to give genuine advice.
And unfortunately, and maybe this is just my own brain rot, or it's how I respond to typically anything, especially if I'm stressed or I'm just like in a weird situation I don't want to be. I'm going to cope by just saying something in response to it. So I say, you know what? I'm like, you know what? If I have a choice, I will fall backwards.
Yeah.
Thinking in my head, I'm like, well, I mean, obviously, if I'm going forward, I'm not going to be able to change that. And Fanning goes like, don't joke. Hey, don't joke about that. And I'm like, bitch, I'm coping the way I know how to cope.
It's just a matter that the way you were coping, the way Fanning was coping, are literal opposite ends of the spectrum. So.
I'm like, I'm just gonna make a joke because that is how I want to handle this situation. And he told me not to do it. And I'm like, the whole time I'm like, Fanning, you are so lucky I cannot catch up to you.
All right, Matt. In the safety of this podcast, where Fanning is not here, I have a genuine question to ask you, guy.
Yes.
The way down that mountain, especially the second half, okay?
The second half down.
Were you hanging in the back purely because you did not want to be around Fanning?
No.
Okay.
I was quite content with me and Dustin hanging out in the back. At some point, I just started hilariously singing Wolves of Glendale, and Dustin joined it, and it was fun.
You two were having fun at the back, and it kind of made me want to go back there with you. But I was also like, even if I hang back with them, I'm currently walking at a faster pace than them, and I don't want to walk at a slower.
Yeah. When we got to the walking part, I got a little worried because I couldn't see you three either. I had to ask Matt a couple of times, like, hey, you see them, right? Like, you know where we're going.
I was, right? Especially on the way down, I was playing the middle role, where I was doing my best to make sure I knew where Fanning and Georgia were in front of me and where you two were behind me. And there were quite a few times where I was like, Fanning, I need you to stop. And I think the most I had to wait was there was one point where I had to wait 2 minutes before I could see this. But like every 5 minutes or so, I was like turning back and being like, do I have visual?
Yeah.
So we're making our way down. We get about a third of the way down, and at that point is, again, I don't say anything because I don't want to make people more anxious and nervous. But that's when I started getting really concerned. Because we had started way later than I wanted. In my mind, we were starting this mountain hike around noon, 1 o'clock the latest. And we did not start until a little after 3 o'clock. And that made me nervous because while sticking to the expectation of what I assumed it would take us, which was a 3-hour ascent, 1.5-hour descent, that would still get us off the mountain at 7:30. I also knew that things happen, and I also knew that we had inexperienced mountain hikers, and that we might need to take more frequent breaks, and that we really, above all else, do not want to be on a mountain when it is dark.
Nope.
And I was convinced that we were going to be fine until around 7:30 in the evening, and I'm like, oh fuck, are we going to be on this mountain at dark? Now, I had brought my flashlight just in case, but it was not a bright flashlight.
It started dimming slightly when we were going down the rock part. And that was kind of the part where any sort of real fear started to kick in for me. I was like, I really don't want to be on these rock parts in night. I really want to go back down to the trail before it gets dark.
Yeah,
I can handle that.
If we were still on the rock part when it was dark, that really would have opened up a very dangerous position.
Yeah, that would have been an awful situation.
And I'm very glad that we ended up not being in that situation.
Yeah, we were off the rocks.
Yeah, we were off the rocks well before it was dark. And the other nice thing is that, in a way, because it was a mountain, we're away from lights, and no one did have a bright flashlight with them, our eyes actually accumulated, at least mine did, accumulated to the darkness. So, like, I had my night vision. So, there was never any point where I flat out could not see.
Oh, yeah, no, definitely not.
There were times... Yeah.
Okay.
What did I say?
You said accumulated.
Sorry, acclimated.
No, I was just confused for a second. I was like, he got his eyes? He got his eyes.
Well, he said he accumulated dark vision.
I think either way,
I suppose. Okay.
We made it off the mountain at around 9 o'clock after having hiked around 5 miles over the course of 6 hours. One of the slowest mountain hikes I've done. I think I counted it out and I estimated that was my 9th attempt on the mountain and my 2nd failed attempt. My first failed attempt being my first attempt period. But we still got very close, and the only reason that we stopped, I still say that if it was not wet conditions, I might have tried a little harder to go up.
Oh, dude, same. I feel like the wet conditions is really the only bad part for me. I feel like
if only we had known.
If I didn't have to worry about slippery rocks and my awful grip shoes.
I'll say this. Even if it wasn't wet rocks, there is a definite chance that I still could not make up that last steep section. But I would have at least tried hard.
Right, yeah.
So, that was our mountain experience. So, Matt, I know that was your first mountain experience. Was that yours, Nelson?
My second.
Your second? Okay.
Like I said, my first time it was like 80% trail, 20%.
Yeah,
Well,
because I've
rock
been on like hiking trails before. That was the first time I've ever done
right, but
anything like that.
Okay. So thoughts, Matt?
Thoughts.
Yes.
If we do it again, a couple conditions.
Okay.
First thing, we muzzle fanning.
All right. I don't know if that's really going to be something we can do, but
Okay,
No,
then you're
put
not
his tongue
okay.
out.
Second condition. You know Rock Lee.
No.
Rock Lee, take off your weights.
You know the episode where the Magikarp had to jump into space?
Oh,
and
yes,
he said take off the weights
yes,
because it's
yes.
the same plot line.
Yeah.
I say we do that to Fanning. We do that to Fanning.
Wait, what? We have him like walk with weights for a year? And then
No,
when we start hiking, we tell him to take it off?
no, we put weights on him when we go up, so he's slower.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
And then the last condition is that we just do more research on the trail and make sure we know what we're doing better. We have better
Yeah.
expectations going in, but the first two are more important to me.
Fourth thing that you probably have not said is to double check.
I say that falls under 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think, Matt, for your first time really doing like a mountain hike like that, you did very fine.
Hey yo.
Did I do very well?
I think you did pretty
No.
well, Dustin. Yeah, I think all of us did well.
Yeah, we all did great, I think.
I mean, like I said, I'm not the most fit person, but I also know that I have the endurance to do a mountain hike. And the fact that on the ascent I was the slowest person, I mean, that speaks to the fact that like you guys were able to do. I was genuinely worried that while Matt, I know, does do a lot of walking, that the uphill nature of it would get to you.
It was more it was more the issue. Most of the issue I had wasn't necessarily.
Or not even the uphillness, but like also like the uneven.
It was
Like,
more.
like it's not just walking, it's like watching where you're walking and going on rocks.
No, I think it was more the strategy when you approach a vertical climb.
Mhm.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
I think, especially like if I knew where to put my feet, I could push myself up pretty easily.
Yeah. I remember there was that one point where we had like pretty much the only way up. Well, I didn't do it that, but the only way up was like grab a crack in the rock and then literally pull yourself up with your arms.
Oh, the one where Georgia was
Like-
trying to coach people through.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I kind of just walked in the crack.
Yeah,
That's what I did as well.
I did the
Like,
exact same thing.
I
We
also
all completely did not do it. Which Georgia said it was very funny.
Well, the reason I
Georgie was
didn't...
telling us to pull our entire body weight up there. I was like, I'm not doing that.
And I'm
man.
like,
I'd
yeah,
rather
but
find
Alright,
my own
look,
way."
I got
I'm
like
gonna-
twice of that.
I'm
He
going
does.
to say this on behalf of all three of us, okay?
Mhm.
The three of us weigh a considerable amount more than Georgia and Fanning.
That's true.
And I have not been to it
And
for a couple years.
I would also say that the three of us, maybe especially me and I'll say maybe Matt, do not have the best of upper body strength. So
That's-
to lift my entire body anywhere is a fucking joke. And it's one of the reasons why I was never good at like doing proper like rock walk. And it's one of the reasons why I stopped doing rock.
Dude, me and Georgia at the gym, we are like yin and yang in terms
Yeah.
of upper body and
In
lower
terms
body.
of-
It's
yeah.
actually it's like when we do like push day, we have to and we're like on the bench. I've actually gotten a little bit better, I think. At least like I'm not taking weights off after Georgia goes anymore.
Good.
I'm probably doing less reps. I'm definitely doing like less reps than him, but I'm at least slowly starting to keep up. But like especially at first, I had like barely any. I was constantly like lowering it to do it. But then when we do leg stuff, I forget what they're called, but basically,
Like a
it's
rowing
the
machine.
no, it's the Dustin might be able to actually explain what they are. I
This
I
thing where you
refer to
squeeze?
yeah, I refer to them as the man spreading machine and the watermelon
Yeah.
crushing machine because that's what it seems like they help you with.
Nice.
And that's why I looked. I don't know if you saw in the Discord. I looked up how much like pounds of force you need to crush a watermelon between your thighs.
You
I-
posted that and said, "I'm on my way there." I was like, "I know what he's doing right now.
Yeah,
Nice.
He's doing that machine."
because it's because I can do it significantly better than Georgia can, but I think that's also just the fact that I walk everywhere and I have a lot of lower body strength.
Yep, I have a lot
I-
more lower body strength because I did soccer as a kid.
I
That was,
did
like, my sport.
I did 6 reps of it at 250. The watermelon
That's-
crushing thing.
6 reps of how many times?
No. What do you
No?
mean? You mean sets?
Oh,
I did
yeah,
as
I
in
guess how
as
many
in
sets, yeah.
I did it 6 for that set.
Okay,
I
then,
did it.
okay, yeah.
I did
So
6.
how many
I did it.
sets did you do?
Well, after I turned it down because I'm like I don't want to hurt myself. I put it down. I think I put it down to like 200 after that. But I'm just saying I did it 6 times before I was like I can't keep going like in a row. So I'm saying, and you only need to do it once for a watermelon.
True.
So I'm on my way there.
Alright. I think it is worth telling you, though, a fun little story about me. About the first time I climbed a mountain.
Sure. Yeah.
So, unlike you, Matt, instead of the first time climbing a mountain being at the ripe old age of 26, nope, 25 for you, isn't it?
Yep.
Fucking.
Yeah, he's
Hell
25.
yeah. Shout out Dustin.
Don't drag us with you, old man.
The first time I really climbed a mountain, and I say really because, like, I was brought up a mountain when I was like 3. I don't really count that. I don't remember it. I was probably carried a decent amount. The first time I really climbed a mountain was when I was 8. And every year, Dustin, you'll know what I'm talking about. Every year, I would go on a vacation with my family where we would rent out a house in Maine and we would stay there for the week. And once I got older, Dustin would join with me, but this was before Dustin was when I was about 8 years old. I forget exactly how it came up, but me and my dad had a conversation where we talked about how when I was 3, I was brought up this mountain, and it was called Mount Chicora. It's a smaller mountain than Cardigan, I believe, but it's not that much smaller. It's not that. It's pretty compared. And me and my dad decided that we would climb the mountain. So we made a plan. We pack our lunch, and we head off towards the mountain. All right. After about 10 minutes of walking, I break down in tears.
Oh no.
I am already tired. I'm realizing what I'm getting myself into. And essentially, I'm trying to quit before I get too deep. And there's a lot of things that I get frustrated with my dad about, especially nowadays. But I will never forget how that man sat with me on the trail for about 45 minutes, where we did not make a single step. He didn't try to convince me to move. He just kind of sat there in quiet and let me say what I needed to say. And after about 45 minutes, we continued on, didn't stop like that again, and I made it to the fucking top. Took about an hour and a half, but we made it. And that genuinely might be my single favorite memory I will have of my dad. Because he didn't push me to do it. At no point did at every single point, I felt like if I wanted to stop, I could. And yet, he just let me talk. He let me say what I needed to say. He listened, which is exactly what I needed. And we made it. And as I said, that was the first time I had climbed a mountain, far from the last time. I don't think I've ever done Chicora since then. Maybe that's a mountain we could do in the future, is try doing Chicora. It's like I said, it's another one in New Hampshire.
Well, it sounds like they all did. They all I don't think we could do a harder one. So based on the advertising,
I can tell you right now that there is a mountain that is way harder than what we did, that I do want to climb at some point. But before I do genuinely need to get in shape. And that is Mount Katahdin in Maine, which is the highest point of Maine. It is, so the mountain we did, we had to gain about 3,000 feet of elevation. Mount Katahdin is about 4,500. So it's like 1.5 times the elevation.
Can we get much higher? So high.
So high.
But it is something I do want to do. But like I said, it's something I've done my research into. It is something that I know for a fact that if I tried to do it today, it's not happening. Do I think I can do it at some point in my life? Yes, I think I do, and I think I will try. But I need to fucking start exercising again. I haven't gone to a gym in over a year, mostly because this year of teaching has really kind of taken over my life and made it hard to do much else. But unfortunately, I'm gonna have a couple of busy years. I haven't told you all this, Matt, but like, I hate to say this, but after this D&D campaign, I think I'm done for a while.
You're done with D&D, man?
Not because I want to stop, but because I need to start taking night classes for my master.
That's true.
And the only way that that's realistically going to happen is if I draw. I mean, there's a chance I could do D&D, but like, if I'm doing not only my classes in the evenings, but all of my coursework in the evening, then it's not going to be easy. Granted, I will also only be doing like 2 classes a semester. So it's one of those things where I'm worried, but we'll see how it goes. But that's not going to be for another year. That'll be September of 2025. I'll start.
Yeah, we'll think about it when we get there.
Yep. For now, I'm very much enjoying our current campaign.
Well, that's good.
There's lots of things I want to talk about, none of which I can. But I'm having fun.
Nice.
And Matt.
Yeah, do you have questions?
No, I don't have questions, but at the end of this campaign,
yeah,
I need us to have a podcast where we talk entirely about this campaign.
This one
particular.
Okay.
And we don't need to have everyone who is a part of the campaign there. Like, if it's just the 3 of us and, like, maybe Georgia or Fanning or something, that's fine. But I got things I want to talk about. And that's all.
Well, that's good. I'm happy about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no. I think I'm actually serious when I say this. I think so far this is actually my favorite campaign.
Oh, that makes me...
I really think it is.
That makes me feel good.
And I think a part of it is a love-hate relationship I have with how you're dealing with leveling this one.
Deal with. It's just slower.
I'm cool with
Here's
it.
the thing. On the one hand, I don't like it because I'm used to being more overpowered.
Yes, that is.
On the other hand, I will absolutely say that actually reaching level 4 felt so well earned that I'm pretty happy.
Yeah, for clarification, normally campaigns only lasted a year. 1 through 3, they all were like essentially 3 just different chapters of a bigger thing. And they got from like 5 to like 16 or 17 within that year. Which I don't know what the rate is on that, but it's very fast. And
We
that
were
kind of
leveling up about once
and
every
that kind
4
of
sessions.
and that kind of stemmed from me campaign 1 wanting to level you guys up fast so like you weren't getting bored. Like you were constantly getting new stuff and you were constantly like learning new things.
Well,
Because
not
it's
only
like
that,
it's
but especially
campaign
with that
1.
first campaign, that was, let me think, it was Dustin's first D&D campaign. It was my first D&D campaign in like 4 years, and my last one did not go great. It wasn't with Mattering, but it left a sour taste of D&D. And was it someone else's first campaign as well? Was it Seth's?
No, it wasn't Seth's.
No, I think it was just ours.
It was just really ours.
I think you guys
I think it was everyone else's first in a long time.
It was your first. Fanning, I know it wasn't his first. George has essentially the same time because we started experience. We started at the same time, so I knew exactly how much he had going into it. And Seth had been playing in the ones that I was running at college. So it was across the board.
We ran the board about how much experience we had. From
it was
tons of experience to a little bit years ago to 0. So I totally understand campaign 1 being like, I want to make sure that we're not getting bored. I want to make sure that I'm doing things that people want to do. I remember especially that first campaign. You were very, I don't want to say nervous, but cautious about the balance of combat and non-combat. Where you were like, do you guys prefer one over the other? Because if you prefer combat, then I'll make it more combat heavy. If you prefer no combat, I'll make it less combat heavy. And I'm pretty happy with where we ended up, which is, I'd probably say, about a 50-50 split. Maybe even 60-40, 60 no combat, 40 combat.
At some points. Sometimes it gets also based on the story and what you're doing.
Yeah, it depends on where we're at. Sometimes it's combat heavy. Sometimes we have a whole session that's nothing but combat. But it's always a different session. And while I will be the first to admit that D&D does not always have my full attention, I will also say that at no point ever was I ever like, ugh, D&D, I don't want to be. Like, there was no point where I was ever like that.
Yeah.
I'm pretty happy.
Yeah, and it's also why I started you guys at level 5. Because, like, I don't know if, I guess I knew the answer. I know the answer if you ever have. But, like, trying to teach new people to play D&D and starting them at level 1 because you think it's going to make it easier for them, like, you're just going to bore people, man.
I will never do a campaign, I think, where I start at level
1. There's nothing to do at level 1.
Yeah, you barely do anything, and people already have this idea when they start, especially newer people who, when they make characters, they always like think of themselves as like main cure, like people like he comes from a long family of warriors, and he's known throughout the land for his combat ability. And it's like, you are a level 1 character. You do a D4 of damage, and you can attack once per turn. And there's like always that like disconnect, which at least level 5, you definitely do have more of your class abilities, and you do actually like rogue. Rogue feels more like a rogue at level 5, as opposed to a level 1 rogue that just kind of feels like a twink with a knife, essentially.
Twink with a knife. That's a great way of describing things.
I mean, is it not? Yeah, you're
No,
a little bit more.
awesome.
Yeah, you're a little bit more dexterous.
I will say, I think that is the one thing I really don't like about this campaign is starting at level 3. I've been coddled too much, Matt. Like
Yeah,
if it was
what I
that
said
long
going into it.
if it was that long going from level 5 to level 6, I'd be fine with it. But like
That's what I
still
said. I
only
said
being a level
this whole
4,
time.
like-
I said I've been babying you guys too much.
Oh, you absolutely have. But I also enjoy being babied. Like
That's the point.
Guru
Being
Gaga.
Yeah, no, this time, that's why I kind of kept it similar all 3 times, except for this one, where I'm starting essentially completely new. And I'm like,
Few
nah.
things you're doing differently with us. I mean,
And I'm like,
you
I'm
started us at level 3. You also
gonna make them learn.
you
gonna
also
I'm gonna make them struggle.
made magic be like not banned, but like it's got some
Yeah.
baggage attached.
Yeah, magic in this world, magic isn't seen so favorably. It's kind of almost seen as a bad thing.
Which I will say, you doing that convinced me to try a non-magic character for the first time since my first campaign, which, as I said before, I did not like. So
Yeah, because you've just been spellcasters this whole time.
I've been spellcasters the entire time, and it was because I did not like my first character. I had a hard time remembering what my first character was, but I should actually go back and check. But I think it was a soldier. I think it was a straight up soldier. Because, you know, of course, the first time you're a character, you're going to be a soldier. But I did not enjoy it. But honestly, the issues I had with that campaign well beyond
The game itself.
not the game itself. It was well beyond the character.
Oh, okay.
It had way more to do with people inconsistently showing up on time. Even to a worse degree than what we're dealing.
Oh, and also like I'm completely aware of that.
At least
It's not.
At least the things we're dealing with, people are like communicating ahead of time. Like if Fanning's like closing, he's like, "Yeah, I'm closing tonight, so we're not going to be able to start till 8:30." That's fine. That gives me a time to be ready to play, even if it's an hour and a half later than I would like. My original group, we would say, "All right, we're going to start at 12:30," and then people would literally say nothing and not show up until 3:00
Is this online or in person?
online.
Okay.
But still, that was when I was especially trying to build up a streaming channel, and it's middle of the day on a Saturday. I have so many better things I could be doing
Yeah.
middle of a day Saturday than waiting for someone to fucking show up for D&D who has not communicated what they're doing. So I literally think I played like 6 sessions.
Yeah, these are all like a lot of the, especially if you ever like, because I get recommended D&D stuff to me all the time. There are a lot of common experiences, especially with like reasons that people have games have stopped, or people had to drop from games. It's all like very common. Like The fact that we've managed to keep going as long as we have with as fairly consistent as we do it, I think most of the time we're consistent. It's like a godsend compared to what other people do.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and it works that we can do it online late, so there's a lot less conflicts, especially even when there is a few. No, but we're a very good group in comparison.
I think the other thing that really frustrated with that group was that going into the campaign, I only knew one person, and that was the DM. I did not know any of the other players at all.
That's also a little rough, yeah.
Right, and that, not a big fan. I wish it was people that I was more. But either way, I did the 6 sessions of that campaign. That campaign also, I will say, lasted a long time. They were doing the same campaign for at least like 2.5 years.
Yeah, that's how they normally go.
But the other thing is that, and I had talked a little bit about this before, was about 8 months or so after I had stopped with the campaign, my friend, the DM, sent me a message and was like, hey, I actually have a question for you. And he explained that he was setting up a big bad for the campaign, but to make things interesting, he wanted an actual person making the major decisions of the big bad. And he asked me if I was interested. And he said, just to be clear, you would not need to show up for regular sessions. You would just need to have a conversation with me for like an hour once a month. I will fill you in on a couple things you would know about, and you'll let me know what you're thinking. And I said, okay, yeah, sure, that sounds like fun. And I remember I was a lich.
Nice.
Which is why, like, you know, D&D stuff I don't know about. But, like, I have brought up liches before, and it's because that is one of the only, like, I don't want to say obscure D&D things, but, like, it is one of the weird D&D things that I'm oddly knowledgeable in because of that experience.
You have to... There's a different... Like, you have to at least play a little bit of D&D or consume a little bit of media to know what a lich is, as opposed to a dragon.
Like, Dustin, do you know what a lich is?
As opposed to a dragon.
I know the word.
So, a lich is basically someone who can live forever, as long as they are constantly filling up what's called their phylactery. And the way you fill up your phylactery is essentially by feeding its soul. So you have to, like, I think it was like kill one person every 10 days or something. It was something like that. But as long as you could do that and your phylactery was not destroyed, then you could live forever. So I was a lich warlock, I think it was, who had been alive for hundreds of years. I had to figure out exactly where my phylactery was in the world, figure out what kind of protections I had on it, and figure out where I'm getting all of these people that I'm killing. And my goal was essentially... It's funny because now that I think about it, my goal was actually very similar to what you did, Matt, in Campaign 1. My goal was essentially to revive an old god.
Yeah. Crazy concept.
Crazy D&D concept, I know. But that was essentially my goal. And at the time, I was like, yeah, that sounds great. And then I kept talking to my friend, the DM, and I shit you not, there was one time where I talked to him, and this is the update I get about where the players are at. You ready?
Yeah.
The players have started their own town where they run the post office, and they have imported elephants. Now, you might have noticed that at no point in that description is there really anything that I can act upon.
You could kill killer elephants.
So, there was no reason for me to. They weren't causing me issues. They were not actively. They were basically playing Sims.
Yeah, and that is.
Which is fine. There's nothing wrong with playing D&D like that. But as someone who's playing as the big bad, it kind of halts any thing that I'm doing. Because, I'm not gonna. Realistically, if I'm a big bad evil guy who has
PBG.
been killing people. Right, exactly. And I've been killing people for hundreds and hundreds of years. Why am I going to feel threatened by a group of 4 people who have started a town and imported elephants? They have not really given me any reason to do it. So the most that I really ever did was I sent one goon to infiltrate their town just to keep an eye on them. And they basically just worked at their post office and gave me intel. And that was really about it.
He didn't Oh, okay.
And eventually, my friend was like, yeah, the campaign stopped because people stopped showing up.
Yeah, I feel that. I think what you do in that...
because he was dedicated as a DM. Just as much as you.
I think what you do in that situation is you say, all right, they're not a threat, and then you make your devilish schemes more audacious.
I guess. It's one of those things, though, where, again, I had, especially at the time, very little D&D.
Yeah. I was just trying to
think. If I was to be a big bad now, I would do it way different than I did that. So, it was an interesting experience, but one that I'm probably not likely going to do.
Yeah, that's something you never got. You guys never did.
Was what?
Slow down.
Not really, because I think a lot of us are adventurers. We want adventure. We do like an occasional slowdown episode, especially what we call our shopping episodes. Those are a lot more laid back, relaxed. Also, we had one not that long ago that was pretty relaxed. Not 2, 3 sessions ago?
You have to remind me.
The session right before the expedition.
Oh, when you had downtime.
Yeah, that was a pretty laid back episode. I say episode, session.
Episode's fine. We all know it. We all know it.
Yeah, we all know what I'm talking about. But that was a pretty laid back session. And I do like those sessions once in a while. But if we did 3 of those in a row, I'd probably be
Yeah, even if I feel like it's not even the full session that's like that.
That time it was, but also we had started late, so we only had a 2-hour session.
We started late, and really the only thing left to do. Basically, it was a situation where, because they've been getting cut short sometimes, is I don't think we have enough time to start them on the big thing.
And you didn't want to stop us.
Yeah, there would not be a good time to start. It'd be rushed. And I'm so it's just kind of well, let's just see what they want to do for the next couple of days.
It worked out. We did,
and then hopefully that stretches.
We did some exploring. We had some fun. I like the balance we have. But I said earlier that I like the balance we have between non-combat and combat. But I also really like the balance between heavy plot versus light plot versus choose your own path.
like the session before last, that wasn't a very light plot. That wasn't a light session.
No, that was not.
Yeah, that wasn't good.
Oh
And
my
then
goodness.
session right after that, you find this funny little town that doesn't know what crime is.
Right. And immediately I'm like, something's wrong here. And we
Yeah.
still haven't figured it out, but I'm convinced that I'm wrong. I am convinced that if
Well, no,
I had...
you're. Wait, what's your first? Oh, your first name's Con.
What?
I thought.
Oh, shut
you,
up.
I thought
Shut
you just
up.
like is this like your full legal name?
Shut up. I'm convinced that if I'm trying to think of, I want to say what I want to say, but I also realize I need to like explain it.
Yeah, basically,
town no crime. Most places, in order to pay for goods, instead of actually giving money to a person, you're just supposed to put it into this little dish.
yeah, it's a town where it seems like all of their commerce is done on an honor system, honoring that they will put money in if they take something. And also these little tiny whatever weird little European town they're in, they don't seem to understand the concept of crime.
Prison.
Words like killing, all things you guys said. Words like killing, stabbing, thieving, pinching. They don't seem to understand the concept of those and attribute it to being outside stuff that they're unaware of.
But I'm convinced that while you told us that, hey, they work on an honor system, I'm convinced that's bullshit, and that anyone who actually steals is like somehow teleported to some massive prison, and they are like in prison.
Interesting concept.
That's my theory. Completely a conspiracy theory until the monk in orange tells me next week otherwise.
Well,
what about the bear?
That's what I was talking about, the monk bear.
Yeah.
Monk bear. In orange clothes.
I just want to make sure it was known because you just called it a monk in orange, but it was a bear.
Yeah, it was a bear.
It was a bear. Why is it a bear?
Because he's a bear? I don't know. Why are you a person?
But like, at
human?
no point did anyone ever mention a bear. So like, that kind of came out of nowhere, and I was very baffled. Because if you were just like, yeah, some guy's in orange robe show, I'd be like, oh. But the fact that it's a bear, I'm like,
well, there were the guys. There were the guys that fixed the window that you broke.
That Georgia refused to tell us about.
Yeah, for some reason.
I mean, here's the thing, okay? Me as a friend of Georgia, I'm like, oh, that's fucking hilarious. Me as a D&D player, I'm like, what the fuck, dude?
Me as
Georgia
a friend,
can get on my nerves as a
That's
D&D
why-
player sometimes.
That's why, as soon as it was clear that he was not going to tell us. So, to be clear, we broke a window. All of us except George are knocked out. George watches people come in, repair a window, and then we wake up. And George tells us none of this. As soon as it becomes clear, he's just, George is telling us that he fixed the window. I'm like, oh, you know what I can totally do in terms of roleplay that A, makes sense, and B, actually will advance the fucking plot? Is just break the window again. Fuck it. So I'm like, my character Vince is just like, oh, why the fuck would you fix it? So I pick up a rock and break the window again.
I mean, it worked.
I think, Matt, you would fully agree as any character event.
I was just waiting. I was like, I was just trying to find a good place to put the bear.
Well, I gave you your out, Matt.
And I'm like, oh, that kind of works.
I gave you an out.
Yeah, it worked. So now next week you're gonna have to figure out, what's up with the bear.
I mean, from what we've heard, it sounds like probably an ally, but we'll find out if the
gives you that
bear
idea?
throws the rock at me.
Yeah, what gives
What
you
have we
that
heard
idea?
that gave you that idea?
What
If
gives me
anything, that
that?
what?
So it's been bothering me that it was a bear, okay?
Yes.
And I couldn't quite put my finger on why.
Okay.
And it just fucking dawned on me why there's been like a little thing in the back of my brain.
Okay.
This bear is about as random as the bear in the vending machine anime.
The bear in the vending machine.
Remember?
There's a bear?
Yes! One of the main characters.
Oh, the leader.
Yeah!
The leader guy's a bear, isn't he?
Yeah! That's
What
what I
bear?
was saying. I was like, wait a minute.
He's not like a. He didn't talk or anything. He's just.
Yeah,
a bear.
he did.
No, the bear in the D&D.
Well, you told us there was a bear, and that's where it ended. So we haven't had a chance to find out if it talks or not.
I don't know, man. Maybe he does.
Maybe he does. Maybe he doesn't. I don't fucking know. But like, it just suddenly occurred to me. I was like, "Fuck!" That's why it's been bothering me that it was a bear. Because in my mind, at some other point in the campaign, a bear had come up.
Yeah, George is a druid.
That doesn't make him a bear.
Well, he did turn into a bear the first time.
Okay, but like I was talking about something different.
Oh, okay.
But I think that's what it is. It's not something from the campaign, but rather from the vending machine.
You just got bear deja vu.
Right, because I mean, vending machine anime was what, like 6 months ago now?
Bro, I don't know.
It wasn't that long ago. I think it was around when we started campaign 4, but I don't know. It might have been before. We started
Yeah, I think it
campaign
was
4 a
before.
little later than we usually do. Dude, I'm gonna miss D&D for like a month.
You are, and luckily I already know what's gonna happen.
Oh, you do?
Yeah,
Am I getting thrown in prison?
maybe.
Damn.
I'm not telling you.
Damn. Well,
Weird.
I'll say this. If there is something you need me to do that would make it easier, just let me know.
Nah.
Okay. If you got it, then you got it.
I'm purposefully trying to keep you in the dark as much as possible. That way you know absolutely nothing when you get back.
Sounds good.
You're gonna feel like Dustin's character does half the time.
Perfect. By the way, worth saying, I don't know if I'm the only one, but I've been taking notes this campaign. Someone else is going to have to take notes for the sessions.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
Damn, I didn't hear.
I'll at
Dustin.
least. Oh, you know what? I can't. I was going to say I'll share my notes with someone, but I can't.
Make a study guide.
Maybe I can do that.
Also, Dustin, it's interesting how the first thing you say is that's true and not I'll do it. You want to talk about that?
Because I'm not doing it.
Okay, fair enough. Good talk.
I appreciate
I'm
the
remembering
honesty.
You remember enough.
Names not so much, but I remember stuff. It's only been a few sessions.
Dude, I don't
Yeah.
remember shit.
It helps. It helps remember
Dude,
sometimes.
when we do the campaign for Kahoot, when we do the campaign for Kahoot, I'm probably gonna fail it.
Yo. If I make it open note.
Then I will probably do the best.
Awesome. Oh, that's what I gotta do. I gotta tell you guys it's just gonna be a Kahoot about the campaign.
True.
And then you'll take notes because you wanna
I did fine on Kahoot without notes.
True.
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 I feel like All right, you ready? Assuming that we're not allowed to use our notes, okay?
Okay.
I'm gonna guess who does best to worst. You ready?
What is this specifically? Campaign 4 only?
I'll say D&D in general, okay?
D&D in general. Okay.
Like specific to our campaigns, but like,
Yeah.
all right. Best, I think I'm gonna say is actually Static, because that motherfucker remembers like everything.
Well, yeah. That's
I think second is Dustin.
Dustin pays attention the most.
Third is where it gets tricky, because I think Seth is last,
Possibly.
but I don't know between me
Well,
and Georgia.
well,
I'd
if
like
it's
to
all-
say
well-
me, but
Well, if it's between all campaigns, Georgia
we'll,
wasn't there for one of them.
we'll ignore the fact that Georgia was.
And he was asleep for half of
Absolutely.
campaign 1.
True.
True.
Kind of.
I don't know. I think I put
Figured-
you above Georgia.
All right, so maybe I can.
Joking aside.
Okay.
Hmm.
I do feel like you and Fanning are definitely above me.
I'd say that's how I feel.
If not necessarily for paying attention, for just fucking remembering shit. You two remember like some weird details I will have forgotten.
I agree. I think that's who I would pick for. I think that'd be my top 2. Maybe I'll do it. Maybe I'll do like a campaign 1 through 3 Kahoot before we do like the movie to our anime seasons. If you want to think of it that way. So you have like
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
we're gonna say that like in terms of like anime, we have the first how those are typically work. The first like you have the 3 seasons, but then to kind of tie it all together, you have a movie. And I'm gonna say that's one thing that we're gonna do at some point. But maybe right before that, we'll do a Kahoot as like a refresher of important plot points, so that it really just be a test of like, okay, what plot points do I got to focus on? Which ones do they remember?
Right.
All right, so Dustin.
Yep.
When's the one shot that you're DMing?
What day do you leave for Europe?
Pretty much a month from tonight. I think it's July 6th.
All right, so whatever the next Monday after July 6th is, obviously.
No, I want to be there for that.
Imagine we just made up a whole session. We didn't actually run it.
Yeah.
We just make up the story of our session. Man, we come up with a whole story. Do some.
Y'all would
funny
fucking
things that happen.
gaslight me over that, and I would not appreciate it.
You do it to yourself now.
I do it to myself, which means I don't need you to do it to me as well, Matt.
I think it'd be really funny. We reference it for years.
How about
Bro? How about? Hey, Rob, can I ask you a question?
Yeah, what's up?
Can you use gasoline to cook spaghetti faster?
Is that?
Do you need me to repeat the question?
I need you to explain the question.
No. I just need you to take in the question and see how you would do it.
Can you use gasoline
to cook spaghetti faster?
Yeah.
No?
Yes. I would say the way I would interpret the question, if I'm limited to a yes or a no, I think I would say yes.
You would say yes.
Yes.
Interesting.
Why?
Because that is also what the Google AI said. to a question.
Okay.
The same, it saying yes, you can use gasoline to cook spaghetti faster.
Okay.
You should follow, and the directions are, you should follow the package directions for the spaghetti. In a separate saucepan, saute garlic, onion, and gasoline until fragrant.
Oh my fucking god. Okay, that is not the context
Which is
that I was
how-
thinking about.
Which is how the Google AI interpreted that question.
Yeah, that is not how. Alright. So the way I interpreted that question of can you use gasoline to cook spaghetti faster is if you can think of a single way that it could be used, then the answer would be yes. And in my mind, I'm like, well, not that I think anyone would fucking do this, but if you were to try to cook spaghetti over an open fire, then the first thing you need to do is get water boiling, and you're gonna get a fire going a lot quicker with gasoline.
Yeah, no, that is not how interpreted.
Which is a weird way to interpret it, but I was like, technically, yes.
Okay, remember
But
this is the
what
same.
Google AI said is fucking insane.
The same Google AI we talked about last time
I was
that
gonna
told people
say,
to put
that
glue.
was the glue, yeah. I saw a website recently where people were like, hey, just use this website. It's Google just without Google AI.
Yeah, I've seen.
And I'm like, honestly, yeah, that's kind of based.
All right, hey Dustin, how about this question for you?
Yeah.
How long ago was 1919?
1919,
Yeah, how long ago was that?
105 years ago.
You see, you are wrong.
Interesting, because I also would have said 105 years ago.
That's insane because the Google AI says that was 20 years ago.
Oh, 20 years ago.
20 years ago, man.
All right, hang on, wait. All right,
It was only 20 years ago.
Wait, Dustin.
Mm-hmm.
All right, before Matt continues, Matt, I'm assuming you have more to talk about with that specifically.
No.
Don't say it, but no.
I'm just telling you what the Google AI
All
responded.
Right, did Google AI explain how it got that?
It pulled up the Wikipedia for sources. It pulled up the Wikipedia on 1919.
And what did it say?
Nothing. It literally says in the search bar how long ago was 1919, and then it says 1919 was 20 years ago. Period. Here's the Wikipedia page for 1919.
Wait. I think I know how Google AI came up with that answer. I bet the Wikipedia article on 1919 was 20 years old.
You know,
because Wikipedia, I think, started around 2004.
Still.
Oh, still, it's absolutely insane, but like... It's one of those things where the computer science major in me, the programmer, is like, okay, yes, it is getting these laughably wrong answers. But why is it coming?
Yeah, well, that's what happened this last time, because I thought it confused...
The glue, I could see where it came up with the answer. And the spaghetti, I can also see where it possibly came up with the answer.
Wait, which answer? Which answer? My answer for how it got there, or the actual one?
Wait. How did it come up with gasoline?
Because gasoline, I don't know the backstory on that one.
Oh, I thought what you said was the actual thing, where it came up with like a saucer.
Yeah, that is the real thing it came up with.
So my assumption with that is similar to the glue thing, where it pulled like a Reddit.
Sure.
Whereas if you're talking about it pulling up a Wikipedia article, I'm like, okay, that's much less likely to have misinformation. So what's going on? And I think it's interpreting the question. It's interpreting the question as how old is the Wikipedia article?
For 1919?
Yeah.
Sure. It's the most egregious thing is that no one's even asking for this. They just put it at the top of search. So now when you search things, you have this AI result if it shows up, and then you have like the stupid like paid for ad articles that make Google barely usable anymore.
Yep.
But so now the real things is actually that. You know what, Rob? I have another question for you.
Oh boy. Let's hear it.
Can you name the fruits that ends in the letters
fruits
U,
that
M.
end in
The end in the two letters U and M.
Okay, there's plum.
Okay, interesting.
Lumberry in Pokemon?
That doesn't. You
Does
see,
not
that would
end
be
in
wrong. That would be wrong. Dustin, have you seen this one?
I can
No, I
think of fruits that have a UM in them, like pumpkin,
Nah, at the end.
kumquat.
Specifically
the
at
only,
the end.
the one to think of is plum.
The only
All
one
right,
I can think of is plum.
You guys are clearly stupid.
So, hang on, wait, let me think.
Nah, I don't think you're gonna get it.
What is a banana?
Nah, so here's what Google. Interestingly enough, Google did not say plum.
Okay.
It said, according to Quora, the following fruits end with applum, bananum, strawberrum,
No. Oh
tomatum,
my god.
and coconut.
Wait, and coconut?
And coconut.
No. It really added a UM to the first four and then not even to coconut.
And coconut.
What?
Where did it get that one? It's from Quora, so someone asked, I'm guessing.
That's actually incredible.
Actually, I have one that I think Rob's gonna like.
I mean, I'm loving all of these, but go on.
It looks like the original question is which U.S. presidents went to college, but I'll tell you that Google answered with how many presidents. Maybe like UW Madison, so maybe it's that specific one. But it says you.
To college.
So it says which
I think the answer is all of them.
And it also gives here's more interesting. I think it gives me a number for how many degrees U.S. presidents have earned collectively.
Oh, I wouldn't have a.
And then the dates, that they got them. Okay. And I'm just gonna read off some of these. Okay, and if any of the dates sound a little weird, you can tell me because you know your history thing and everything.
Yeah. Okay. Sure.
Yeah. Okay. So Andrew Jackson went to college. And he graduated in the year 2005. Andrew Jackson, the U.S. president.
The 7th U.S. president.
Yeah, graduated college.
Served as president, let me think here, from, I want to say it was 1828 to 1836. Definitely did not graduate college in 2005. I can confidently say. So,
yeah, sure.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Okay.
Now, there might have been a man who named Andrew Jackson who graduated college in 2005, but not U.S. president.
William Harrison graduated in 1953 and 1974.
President in 1840, I believe. And notably died in office in 1840, I believe. I also might be wrong on these years, but I think it was 1840.
John Tyler. Wait, John Tyler, that's a president?
Yeah, John Tyler was the president who was Henry Harrison's vice president.
Oh. Okay.
Fun fact about two fun facts about John Tyler real quick. Fun fact number 1 is John Tyler's nickname was his accidency because many people did not like the idea that the vice president becomes president if the president died. However, John Tyler took it upon himself to institute that and make that a thing. And some people called him his accidency because he was never elected to the office of president. Fun fact number 2, he's the only president who, after being president, was deemed sworn enemy of the United States.
No, first for now.
Because he sided with the Confederacy.
Oh no.
Yep. Anyways, what about John Tyler, our
He
not so great president?
He graduated in 1958 and 1969.
Yeah, he definitely did not.
Yeah.
That's off by over
Andrew
100 years.
Andrew Johnson earned 14 degrees in his lifetime.
Honestly, that's not that unbelievable.
Yeah, the year including the classes of 1947, 1965, 1985, 1996, 1998, 2000, 2006, 2007, 2010, 2011, and 2012.
Johnson, notably, was Lincoln's vice president. Became president after Lincoln was assassinated. So we're talking late 1860s here.
No, you don't understand. He graduated with his 14th degree in 2012.
I am sure there are multiple Andrew Johnsons who got degrees in those years. However, none of whom president. This is fun. Go on.
James Buchanan graduated in 1943.
All right, wait. Now I'm actually confused because so far you've been going in order of presidents, but now we're going back.
It's going. I don't know, man. I'm telling you, Google
James
answered.
Buchanan was president before Lincoln.
Yeah, he graduated with three times in 1943, 2004, and 2013.
Many people consider him one of the worst presidents we've ever had.
I mean,
because he basically led us to civil war.
He was focusing on his studies, which he's been doing for the past 200 years.
Oh, of course. You know, my apologies.
Yeah.
Also, fun fact about Mr. Buchanan, President Buchanan, possibly our first gay president.
Let's fucking go. He's smart and gay.
Well, we don't actually know. No confirmation.
You know.
But he never married a woman, and he was awfully close to this one guy. Like, to the point where, like, they were living together.
They're just really best friends. They're super.
I think it was him. I think it was, like, his Secretary of Defense or something.
They're just super best friends. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Super
I
best
think
friends.
Nowadays people have widely accepted that they probably were not gay, but
Lame.
it was a rumor.
Yeah, and my
channel's official opinion on it. He was gay.
Yeah, let's go. Yeah, we stand by that.
Yes.